I think the thing with movies that people don't realize is that like this is the apex of the craft of a ton of people that worked on it. It's going to have themes in there that you're going to be able to relate to your life. At least good ones are.
Hey, welcome to the Adler.tv show where there's a new episode, a new guest, a new topic every single week. This week, my guests are Fletcher and Ian. They host a podcast of their own called the First Ever White Guy Film Podcast. Fletcher and I know each other from when we made a sketch comedy show called Boxer Shorts in college. His co-host, Ian, is a father to 2 kids, and Ian has his kids join in on their podcast quite a bit, but there are no kids on my podcast today, which is probably good because while we don't get graphic talking about movies or anything like that, we are going to talk about all kinds of movies, from kids movies to movies for grown-ups, classics to new movies, and upcoming movies, popular to obscure movies, from good to bad movies, normal movies, super weird movies. We're going to talk about the Sidewalk Film Festival, which is coming to Birmingham very soon. There is an Avengers movie spoiler in here as well. So we met at Fletcher's house, we sat down to record, and we realized that Fletcher has a very loud air conditioner. Check it out. Seriously, is your air conditioning is it diesel? Is it a diesel air conditioner?
It is a diesel air conditioner. It was actually cobbled together out of parts of a tractor trailer.
Was it?
And yeah.
John Deere. You have a John Deere air conditioner in your home.
My air conditioner was built by Freightliner.
We could actually leave it on, and I'll just get a noise sample and cut it out. So I'm going to get a noise sample now. Nobody say anything or make any noise. Best noise sample ever.
Sweet.
All right, so that's what the air conditioner sounds like. I can then go tell the computer, this is what the air conditioner sounds like. Take that out of the rest of
Oh my gosh, that's like green screen technology for sound?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So our voices might sound a little bit different, because it's going to take something out of our voices, but it'll still be there.
All the air.
Yeah. We'll sound more like this. It's just
we'll sound like this. See?
Yeah, see, like we're from a 1950s noir film, for sure. So speaking of film, I guess we should talk about film.
Avengers! Assemble.
So tell me about you guys' podcast. I know Fletcher from college. We did a comedy series called Boxer Shorts.
This is true.
That aired on Auburn's Eagle Eye TV network. For some reason, they were okay with it.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, you guys can do this.
And we were like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're going to do some real weird videos.
Like, you know what we're going to do, right? You're going to find out.
Yeah. Well, you'll see. You'll see if you like it.
I really hope you're going to insert a clip.
And then you guys just hit 50 episodes on your first ever, this is the name of your podcast, the first ever White Guy Film Podcast.
Yeah, it was
correct.
We named it that because it was scientifically confirmed by the podcast gods. It turned out we did the research and nobody else who was a white male had started a film podcast and with beards. And so we're like, we better.
We looked around, on iTunes and we just couldn't find
any of that.
Any podcasts where it was 2 white guys talking about movies.
Okay, good.
So we're like, we've got to bring attention to that.
Why so serious?
So let's do it, guys. Let's talk about film. One thing that you guys touched on recently was the theater experience and how important that is. And it really is way different than sitting in a living room and watching something, in the intimacy of your home.
Correct.
When you go to a theater that is packed out with people that are pumped up, it's just a different thing. It's like listening to something in your living room with headphones on or going to a concert. The concert's going to be better. And I think people have forgotten a lot of that. And I had forgotten that until going to see Endgame here recently.
Oh,
and I went on a Friday, which, it came out Thursday. So that's the super hardcore people. And then, they get the weekend going. As you guys know, the weekend box office gets it going on Thursday so they can just carry that through and try to put that all together in their opening weekend. But I went on Friday to Avengers Endgame, and it was packed out with, it was totally sold out with people that were pumped. And I couldn't believe how much different it was watching this with all these people cheering and clapping and crying and just...
It's the tea.
It's tea.
Oh, that's the tea.
Yeah. I just spilled the tea.
Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to get some tea.
Oh, thanks, Fletch.
Here, while he's getting that, are you talking about you're saying on opening weekend is when you saw it?
Yes, yeah.
I thought because it's still in theaters. So
Oh,
I didn't
no,
know
not this Friday.
Yeah, they're still getting that money.
So I went on opening weekend, and like people are clapping, people are crying, people are cheering, and it just was it just brought more oomph to every single thing in the room. I found myself being like, "Whoa, this is kind of a big deal," and you guys make a big habit out of going to see movies in theaters. I've noticed.
I mean, we're always joking about this. I have AMC A-list, and I had Movie Pass before that. It existed in its most recent form for like a year or something before it imploded.
Yeah, so is Movie Pass done? Is it gone?
It still exists, but most people left it.
Okay.
But neither of these subscription plans have enticed Fletcher, and so he's literally just buying all of these tickets a la carte. I think he's made of money. He's Mr. Moneybags.
Wow, Fletcher. Mr. Teabags Moneybags up in here.
Hey, that tea right there is very expensive.
Okay, so what is this tea that you've made?
That's ginger tea that I'm drinking.
Okay,
I made you some stress relief tea as requested.
Yeah. You're like I got some relaxing, I got some stress relief, I got normal tea. And I was like, stress relief, man, I could always take that. And then you said it's more powerful than you think it's going to be, or something like that.
That's correct. You'll find out.
And I was like, oh, what, caffeine? And you were like, no, not caffeine. I was like, whoa, what is this tea, man?
Just magic.
Is this legal?
I actually did buy it in a grocery store, but that was my reaction. I was like, did I buy this in a grocery store?
Whoa. Speaking of legal and not legal, before y'all's 50th episode was recorded, did y'all do tons of drugs or just like tons and tons of drugs?
Man.
Is this in reference to some songs that we recorded?
What was the one song crap about like a celebrity? I wish I was...
We had a song about John Wick.
John Wick, yeah. That's what it was.
It was along the lines of, girl, I wish you could be more like John Wick.
That's what it was. You were telling your girl that you wish she was more like John Wick.
Yeah,
which is
it's easier.
If you've seen the movies, you'll understand.
It's easier for Fletcher to tell the theoretical girl in the song than it would be for me to tell my wife that she'd be more like John Wick. I don't think that would work as well.
Yeah, I wasn't. See, it worked. It worked for me to make as a song because I was not saying it to an actual person.
Good dog.
What is the best theater experience? Sorry to come back around to that, and I do want to talk action films. Definitely want to talk John Wick. What is the best theater experience that either of you guys can remember or think of, like of a movie? Because it's different. It's different. It's bigger. You feel like you're part of something. It's just different.
You guys are going to hate my answer. You go first.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. So I have two distinct ones that I recall, just seeing with some friends and having no expectations about the movie. Well, the first one I had no expectations. The second one I was really hyped, and then it met my expectations. So the first one would be Zombieland. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and that movie rocked.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
And it has a sequel coming out.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
The trailer is on YouTube now.
Yeah, I didn't see the trailer with sound, but I saw it on Twitter as I scrolled past. And the funny thing about it is now that all of them are like, elite Oscar nominees or winners.
Totally.
It's not the kind of cast you'd imagine for a sequel.
It does that at the beginning of the trailer. It makes you think you're about to see a serious movie. It's like Oscar nominee Woody Harrelson.
Oh, that's great.
All of them have been nominated or won an Oscar. It's ridiculous.
So was the theater packed out at Zombieland?
It was 3/4 full. I think people didn't really know what they were getting themselves into. I feel like that was... Would you say it's a cult classic? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people saw it after the fact. The second one...
I can't remember if it was successful.
Yeah, the second movie I would mention is definitely a cult classic. And it was by really one of my favorite directors, which was Edgar Wright. So having seen like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, those two movies, I think Scott Pilgrim was his third movie. You familiar with those?
No, I'm laughing at the John Deere tractor. The John Deere tractor that just got started up in the room.
You just
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. No, I can fix it. I'll fix it again. I'm still sweaty. I'm such a sweaty person that we can't turn this air conditioner off, and I apologize for that.
I'm kind of the same way.
Oh, and while we're please don't lose where you are. While we're taking breaks, Ian, you're showing your dadness right now. Your dad bod is actually sticking out of your shirt a little. Your stomach is still. Yeah, I can't have that. I'm gonna have to edit around that. You can't have that on my podcast.
Jacket. Sorry.
I kind of feel like you knew Ian and you didn't care. You're showing your dadness.
I didn't know. I don't know if this will be in here, but I must admit I don't normally wear a shirt. There
are no cameras on our podcast, so
he's shirtless.
No.
He's shirtless on your podcast. That is not fair.
I'm not talking about the podcast. I'm just saying whenever I'm at home, a lot of our episodes are recorded here in this room, but sometimes we're at my house, and so I guess I've probably been shirtless for some of them. I don't know.
Has he?
There's really no way of knowing.
yeah, it's all audio.
Yeah, we can't go back.
I'm always burning up.
Yeah. I hardly ever wear shorts, and
I don't think I've ever seen you wear shorts unless it was for like a boxer shorts bit that we were doing or something like that. Like
that might be right.
The one where we went and it was like bicycle club day or something like that.
Dude, why did you stop?
Maybe shorts, or like we went swimming.
Yeah, there was one where we were like fighting with pool noodles in like mud.
Yeah. There was one where we went swimming literally in like a drainage ditch and acted like it was like a beach.
So is this? I don't think I've seen any of this. Is this kind of like Jackass in a way?
It was kind of a sketch comedy show, but like,
yeah, it was like a terrible version of Key and Peele or something.
Yeah,
it was like
it had a loose concept that like we were supposed to be roommates in college or something, but but we weren't actually roommates in real life. So yeah,
and we learned a ton. Like I had never even edited any video at all.
Yeah.
I hadn't done anything like that. So we learned a ton doing it, and it was such a fun time. And it was just good practice, man. You got to practice all this stuff, whether you're trying to do comedy or acting or writing or shooting or whatever. You just have to do it over and over and over and over and over again. It's unreal how long it took me to be able to create anything that was watchable.
Yeah.
And I'm still struggling to do that every day.
Open your eyes.
Your favorite theater experience, sir?
Mine, if we're just talking about, it is kind of one of my favorite films, and people will hate on me for it. But if we're just talking about like how immersive it was and unforgettable.
Are you about to say Avatar?
You're so close.
Oh, okay. I feel better.
No, you're unbelievably close.
Yeah.
It was 3 years after that. It was the 15-year anniversary re-release of Titanic in 3D IMAX.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
All right. Was it
knew
packed
that.
out? How was it? Tell us about
It
it.
was pretty packed, I guess.
I'm sure it was.
I could not convince anybody that I knew to come with me.
Well, you have good friends.
My wife, I could not convince her. No, none of my friends would come. But I missed, like, I wasn't allowed to see it when it originally came out. I was 11.
Right. Same here.
And I wasn't allowed to see PG-13 films till I was 13.
I saw Jurassic Park prior to that, but I was not allowed to see Titanic.
I saw Jurassic Park in theaters, which messed me up for a long time. I thought my parents' closet had a Velociraptor was going to come out at any second. It's going to rip me to pieces, going to cut me down my little face right in a second. So I saw that way too early.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to see Titanic because of the boobs, guys. Remember the boobs?
Well, yeah, I think
the bubes.
But yeah, Titanic was overwhelming. It's, everybody always is like, whenever Shawshank Redemption's on cable, I can't turn it off. And I
yes,
watch it
everyone
till the
says
end.
that. Yes.
That's Titanic for me.
That's Titanic for you.
Yeah.
Really?
What do you mean he just wasn't here? Don't say that to me, Hank. Don't say that to me again.
But, sir, he wasn't.
If I ever run across it, I'm like, and I owned it for many years. I think I finally gave it or sold it to Second and Charles or something.
Yeah.
I want to upgrade to Blu-ray. Eventually, I want to get, I got to get that Blu-ray Titanic.
Is
But
it a
I'm
good
obsessed.
movie though?
Yeah. It's one of the best movies.
Okay, I haven't seen it in years and years and years, so I would almost assume that it doesn't hold up, but you feel like it holds up.
Well, the thing is, I guess maybe people who saw it initially would say that, but I didn't see it until at least 6 or 7 years after it came out. I was in high school at some point, late in high school, when I saw it, and then I saw it in college, and then I just kept watching it. After that, like every couple of years, I would see it again, and I still think about that experience of seeing it in 3D IMAX. Like, it's one of my favorite theatrical experiences, like you asked.
Wow.
Did you have to have the glasses? You had the glasses
Yeah.
on? Cool.
I think it's just a masterclass in direction. And I know people have issues with the script, and there might even be moments in the performances that irk people. I don't know, but I'm just so forgiving of all that because it's just so awe-inspiring.
I like that's really interesting for you to watch that movie, and a lot of people are looking at different aspects of a film. You called it a masterclass in directing.
Yeah, James Cameron.
Yeah.
The best. I know people don't like Avatar. Like, you guys are about to make fun of Avatar, but Avatar is well directed. And I know, he's not imaginative when he's telling a story, but he knows how to show a story.
Sure. No,
Hey,
that
don't
makes
get me
sense.
wrong. I love Terminator 2,
Oh,
The
me
Abyss.
too, man.
There's got to be another one. Aliens.
Oh,
See,
yeah, that's right, yeah.
Stay here. I'll be back.
Yeah, so I had two.
Yeah, you
film
had another film
experiences.
experience?
Yeah, so the
What
other
was
one was one of my favorite directors, Edgar Wright. So, he made Shaun the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So
Great movies.
I knew he was going to make Scott Pilgrim, so I actually read the books and all this stuff. I tried to hype myself up for this movie, and not many people saw it in the theater. It kind of was a cult classic. Like, it sold more copies on home video than it made in the theater. So it was like not a total bust, but it was all after the fact, But it's a shame because it was an awesome theater experience. It was just a really cool thing to see on the big screen, especially after having read the books and just seeing like how it was going to translate to the screen and feeling like it translated successfully.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool.
Avengers Endgame, I guess, would have to be my favorite experience. Watching Tony Stark go out, man, you're just like, ugh, my guts are getting ripped out.
Spoiler tag.
Yeah, spoiler alert for
Assuming somebody didn't see that movie.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it by
Not a
now.
lot of people left you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
One thing that we could touch on real quick is the need for a movie to do well internationally in order for it to be a successful blockbuster. Like, Avengers Endgame needs to make just as much money internationally as it does in America.
Yeah.
So they're thinking about that throughout the entire casting and writing and shooting process. So that's why we've seen a lot of our, like, just the feel and nature of our action films have changed a lot, They're thinking about that now, and they're catering to that now instead of just doing, like, their normal action 80s action thing.
Yeah.
Like, things have changed.
Action movies do really well in like China, Japan, just like markets in East Asia. Actually, I think they do reasonably well in India as well. So not just East Asia.
Yeah,
but
India's a big market now too. Yeah.
I just know that they have to fight to get into the market in China because they only, they cap how many foreign films can screen in China.
Yeah.
And so they only make room for things like Avengers Endgame and Pacific Rim,
Pacific Rim, exactly.
Yeah, stuff like
Great
that.
example, yeah. And they're checking your content too, I think there's things here and there that they've changed. And like, even like feminine looking boys, are not okay in China, that kind of thing. Like, there's a couple boy bands that like they're editing out like on TV and in China. Yeah. They're editing out, like blurring out their earrings. That kind of thing in China. Yeah. So like China is much more restricted than I think we realize sometimes.
Yeah.
So like the studios want that China money though. So they're like, sure. Yeah. Whatever. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, our podcast is all audio because I had to blur Fletcher out for so many reasons.
He's blur his nipples out right
I had
now.
to blur there are so many problems.
You're the shirtless guy, Ian. You're the shirtless guy.
Yeah, you have
That's
to blur
not
all my
Fletcher.
chest hair out.
Don't put that on Fletcher.
Mr. Webley, I trust you have a license for that firearm.
I don't for this one.
Does for this one.
He does for this one.
Speaking of directors, who are some of y'all's favorite directors? Edgar Wright, you said, is your favorite director?
I don't. Favorite director is hard to say.
Yeah.
I guess I'll look at my favorite movies, right? So on Letterboxd, as we were discussing earlier, you have
what is Letterboxd?
So Letterboxd is it's a social media app and website that film fanatics can use to log the movies they see, and it's whatever you want it to be. If you want to review every single movie you watch, then you can. If you want to just say, "Hey, I saw a movie," you can do that.
Yeah.
But everybody's Letterboxd profile page has like four top movies, like whatever movies you want to say, like, yes, I like these four, and show it to everybody.
A bio.
Yeah.
And you can use it however you want, but it's just so organized and aesthetically pleasing. And there were all these sites that predated it, like Metacritic, which you used to use.
Yeah.
And then I used Flickster. There were like all these different options.
Just looking at Rotten Tomatoes.
They were all terrible. And Letterboxd is the first one that I think has finally trapped all of us. And we're all
the film nerds are in one place.
Because we used to be spread out all over the internet, and now we're all together obsessing over, our tastes and arguing.
That's cool. That's awesome. Very cool.
So my Letterboxd top four, I've got Raiders of the Lost Ark. Which is, that's just a movie I've loved since childhood.
Yep.
Second movie on there is the same thing. It's Empire Strikes Back. But then I have Hot Fuzz. That's kind of the curveball.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Really funny movie.
Great movie.
The last one is Alien.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott.
A lot of people that aren't as into films don't realize how many of their films are like directed by the same person.
Yeah.
Or how like this film looks like this and has this feel because of this one person.
Yeah.
And they are defining a genre right now as you watch this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So Wes Anderson has this like whip pan, every frame is perfect style that you can really watch 10 seconds of a Wes Anderson film and it's Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
So that's like a lot of times people don't realize how important a director is and how like, how much control a director has. But it's different directors have a tighter grip, that kind of thing. But the role of a director is so important.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of people don't really know what a director does on a movie.
Yeah,
like,
I had no idea until a couple years ago when I started getting into film, like behind the camera.
Yeah. I mean, like you have your camera person. I think everybody knows what somebody holding a camera is doing.
Yeah.
Your sound person holding a boom mic. I think most people are going to pick up what that person's doing.
Yeah.
Or like, what does the director do?
Right. Besides like action.
Yeah.
Cut.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that when you're a kid, almost everything that you think a director does is actually stuff the assistant director or the cinematographer does.
Right.
Or the producer.
Yeah.
And so you start to wonder, wait, what is that? What are they, like everything that you originally thought was one of their duties, is actually delegated among all the other people.
Yeah.
A lot of what they do is so quiet and behind the scenes that it's not actually part of the stereotype.
Or it's like a football coach. Everybody's been given instructions by that guy way ahead of the time. Like the football coach is going to be yelling instructions from the sidelines, of course.
Yeah.
But as far as all the little mini jobs that everybody has, they've been given that information way, way ahead of time.
Yeah.
But who's your favorite, by the way, Ian?
Spielberg and Nolan. It's kind of hard for me to go back, pick one. I mean,
so Steven Spielberg and
I would
Christopher
say,
Nolan.
Like,
so all of Spielberg's films are like some of the big ones: Raiders, of the Lost Ark. Did he do all?
Jaws.
He
did all the Indiana Jones movies.
Okay.
It took me years to acknowledge to myself and to others. I was always like, I don't have a favorite film, or it would constantly change. But finally, one day I was like, oh my gosh, it is Jaws.
Jaws is amazing. It's amazing.
And I always flash this to everybody. I've got a Jaws phone case.
Hi. That's cool,
awesome.
Man. That's great. It looks like the movie cover with the Jaws shark coming up. It's on the back of his.
But his early work: Jaws, Close Encounters, Raiders, and I mean,
E.T.
Yeah, E.T. definitely is. That one, I like it more every time I see it. When I was a kid and I saw it, I was like, that's fine. But now every time...
Same here. As a kid, I didn't... Once we got past the Reese's Pieces, once we got past that, I was like, well, these scientists are kind of scary. This is kind of slow.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah. Every single time I see it. Now I see it almost every October. I cry harder every time.
Oh my
But yeah,
gosh.
his early work cements him, has him up there at the top for me. And then when it comes to who is, I think, the best director working right now, it's easily Nolan for me.
Yeah.
E.T. Home phone.
And then, so some of Christopher Nolan's films, what are they and why do you like them?
Well, I guess my favorite ones, Dunkirk, Inception, and Memento. Like those are wildly diverse, right there.
Yeah.
I just love what he does with time. He can manipulate or maneuver through the concept of time more than almost anybody else that I'm aware of. That's one of the hardest things to coordinate as a director, and the weak directors, they completely lose their grasp on time and pace. Even if it's addressed with the script, sometimes they can't get it right. So not only is he a master at time, he makes time the subject or the subtext of a lot of his films.
Yeah.
Like in
Batman.
Inception and Dunkirk.
Inception, of course, the whole thing is time, but yeah.
And I guess all the ones I listed, Memento, of course, is all about moving backwards.
I finally found him. How long have I been looking?
Interstellar is all about time.
Especially Interstellar, yeah.
Interstellar's all about time.
Yeah.
With Dunkirk, with the gas running out and they have to go get, like that.
And the whole film is 3 different timelines. They're concurrently, you're going through, an hour a day and a week all at the same time. The three
something like that.
In Dunkirk, that's going on?
Yeah, in Dunkirk.
I thought they were all at the same time.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be wrong because I haven't seen it now for a bit. I guess a couple of years, but I guess Tom Hardy is in the jet, and that's going on for a week, right?
I think that's the one that's going on for the least amount of time.
Is it the hour? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm so mixed up. And then the guys on the beach, is that the one that's
I think that one's like the week. Yeah.
Okay. And then
the boat is a day.
Okay. But yeah, all of those are totally different
I
time
think that's
frames,
right.
but he
I didn't know
weaves
that.
them.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's stupid.
It's kind of hard to pick up when you're watching the movie, but
I did watch it on a plane, if that helps. I did watch it on a plane.
Stay down at 500 feet to leave fuel for 40-minute fighting time over Dunkirk.
But yeah, I think he mentions it at the beginning when he introduces each of those stories. He gives that explanation, but then you're not he doesn't hold your hand.
You're not tied to it either.
Yeah.
It really doesn't screw it up that much. Because I'm just watching the gas gauge, and I'm just hoping the boat gets to the guys before they get killed, and that kind of thing. You're just hoping.
But this world is not real.
When I mention Nolan or Spielberg, I probably immediately come across a certain way with my film taste. But honestly, my favorite genre is musicals. And we don't usually cover them on our podcast because I know that Fletcher's not that interested in the musicals.
Yeah, this podcast is over. This podcast is over. This podcast is done.
Canceled.
I'm picking up my things.
Fletcher's not as into musicals as I am, and most of our friends that come on as guests definitely are not. Many of them are vehemently opposed to musicals.
I'm not opposed to them, right? I mean,
I've seen some good musicals. I've seen many musicals on Broadway. So I mean, musicals can be cool, man.
But it's
musicals can be cool.
In my household, that's 90% of what we had and what I watched growing up.
Interesting.
We just over and over. I watched The Music Man, Singing in the Rain, American in Paris. Of course, Mary Poppins. And
Wizard of Oz. Mary Poppins, dude. Mary Poppins is a great movie.
Chim chimney, chim chim, chiree chim chiroo.
Of course, in the break just now, we were talking about, notoriously bad movies, but that are famous for being so bad. Troll is an example.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me.
The Disaster Artist, that was based on
The Room.
The Room is what that was.
Yeah, we did an episode on that.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched The Room? It really is that bad.
It is that bad.
You are lying. I never hit you.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
But it's that good at the same time.
I had seen so much of it on YouTube, but then we watched the movie together for the podcast, and then went like the next day to see The Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to do it.
It was a fun time.
I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
My wife and I will hate watch a lot of things. Like, we'll watch bad TV on purpose. So I get it. I understand why people love these movies so much. Might I recommend Falling for Christmas?
Is that a Hallmark Channel film?
It's something like that. Yeah. It's on Netflix. My wife and I have like 10 bad Christmas movies that we watch every single Christmas.
Wow.
Because they're so bad. Like,
that's awesome.
in Falling for Christmas, it's like part of it's set in a hotel. And there's this lady that's just always at the desk. It's the same lady. She's always at the desk. And she always just like chimes in like, oh, well, I don't know if you're going to get a Christmas special miracle today. You know? And we're just like, by the end of the movie, my wife and I have decided that the town is haunted. The woman is always there. That's why she's always there. She's just a ghost at the desk.
She just can't ever leave the desk.
Yeah. And none
She's
of the
bound
movie,
to the desk by a curse.
none of the movie makes sense. Nobody's motivated. And you see like, wow, this was like a couple $1 million. And it was still so bad.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, wow, making good movies is really, really hard.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah. A lot of moving parts go into making.
Have you heard of the Christmas Shoes? There was a song that's always on the radio, and then they turned it into a movie.
Oh, wow.
Based on that song.
Oh, that's added. I'm adding that to the list.
I haven't seen it. I think I have the DVD because I might have gotten it at like a Sidewalk Salon event at Rojo a couple years ago. I think we had like Dirty Santa or something, and I ended up with that DVD. And I want to watch it, but I don't know who would watch it with me, you know? I feel like I'd just be sitting alone watching the Christmas Shoes.
Like watching bad movies by yourself, not as good.
Yeah.
Not as fun. There's no, like that in that episode of Seinfeld, there's nobody to, what am I going to nudge a stranger and make sarcastic comments to a stranger, you know? You can't do that.
Who killed the witch of the East? Was it you? No, it was an accident.
During this break, I found out Ian's daughter, Poppy, has done some acting work. What does she work on? That's very cool.
Okay, so that's why this is a segue. At Sidewalk in a few weeks.
Ooh, we need to talk about Sidewalk.
Yeah,
please.
Okay, so I'm excited because she's in a feature film called The Death of Dick Long. We've mentioned it a bunch of times on our podcast. It's from Daniel Scheinert, who is from the Birmingham area. He was a co-director of Swiss Army Man with Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Came out 3 years ago.
Really weird movie.
Yeah, it was very weird.
Very weird.
Yeah.
So this movie, he came back home and made this 2 years ago in like the Bessemer area and smaller areas around there.
Yeah.
And it's arguably even weirder. And it's like
Noted.
like a Fargo type story in Alabama.
Awesome.
And so Poppy, my daughter, plays the daughter of the main character in this film. And so she's got a pretty good supporting role in it. And
That's
so
great,
that
man.
is going to screen in the Alabama theater, and get your tickets. This thing's going to be packed. It's like prime slot. It's at like 8:15 at night, right before the big party, the big Saturday night party during Sidewalk. So it's Saturday, August 24th, Alabama Theater, 8:15. Please be there and see this film. People are going to be talking about it.
Are there any, because like you were talking about Daniel Radcliffe, stinking Harry Potter, one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, was in this guy's last film.
Yeah.
Are there any big names this time around?
They went for like some local talent, because when you're telling a story like this, you want to make sure that you don't get exploitative. And so they didn't like bring in A-list actors to portray Southerners and stuff. They got
English people.
Like Tom Hart. Well, they actually came really close to snagging Robert Pattinson for the title role, but the timing didn't work out, and so Daniel Scheinert ended up playing that role himself.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, on a dare. But they got Roy Wood Jr. from The Daily Show.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Yeah, so he's from Birmingham, and he plays a doctor in this, and
that's awesome.
Our friend Virginia Newcomb plays Poppy's mom in it, and so she's based here, and she's getting bigger. Her star is rising, so we're really excited for her.
No, I am your father.
What about you, Adler? Any favorite movies?
I don't know if I'll be able to think right now because this tea is just jacking me up. I was seriously sitting here being like, why do I feel weird? Something feels off.
Yeah,
and this tea works.
That is purchasable in grocery stores.
That should be behind a glass counter, I think.
Locked back there with the cigarette.
Yeah, man. Put that with the cans of dip.
I want to loop back to Sidewalk real quick.
Yes, can we just give like everybody what is Sidewalk Film Festival?
Okay.
What is it?
So it was sort of a small do-it-yourself festival that started in '99, I believe, and I didn't attend until years later. I guess I first popped my head in and volunteered in like 2012. You had a movie in there before that?
Well, a friend of mine had a movie in there, and
What do you mean had a movie in there?
So it was a thing that he filmed on an old like VHS camcorder, and it was technically a short film.
And I'm sorry. I really do need to backtrack and clarify what Sidewalk Film Festival truly, like, what is a film festival for people that don't even know what a film festival is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Break it down.
Anybody, either.
I'll break it down. Okay, so at this point, I guess I'll fast forward to now. They're in their 21st year, and they have venues in the historic theater district. They rent out the Alabama Theater, the Lyric Theater. The Carver Theater's been under renovation, but most of the years it's been in use. The Red Mountain Theater, which is underground under the Crest Building, and then some of the venues up like ASFA, several blocks north, and then the Museum of Art has recently become a venue. So for that last weekend of August, all of those venues are active. Screening films and panels, discussions. Filmmakers come from all over the country, sometimes from other parts of the world, to Birmingham. And to be honest, it's funny to me because a lot of people in Birmingham still don't know what Sidewalk is, which blows my mind because it is massive.
It is.
And it is one of the favorite film festivals of filmmakers that come from New York and LA because of how... because of the Southern hospitality, the parties that Jeff Nixon throws.
Oh, he's a great guy.
He's now one of the guys that runs the festival. He's been running the parties for years, and now he's like helping oversee the festival in general as well.
Awesome.
And I mean, the reputation that Sidewalk has garnered at this point nationally is just not in sync with the knowledge people have of it locally.
Yeah.
But I think it's starting to change. But people are hearing, oh my gosh, the parties that they throw, like they'll block off the street in front of the Alabama and the Lyric on Friday night after the opening night film and have a throwdown. And then usually, like this time, the Saturday night parties at Sloss Fest, or at Sloss Furnace.
Yeah.
Sloss Fest, R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I'm going to pour out some of this tea for Sloss Fest.
It seems like a lot of locals that I speak to, they actually have a lot of hang-ups about attending a film festival because they think they're going to walk into something like unnecessarily dark or sad. Like, they don't know what they're going to see.
Yeah.
They don't know how it's going to affect
There's something
them.
for everybody, for real.
Yeah, there's something for everybody. This year, for instance, I mean, The Empire Strikes Back is going to play at the Lyric Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
And I was so worried when they announced that because I was like, I'm going to have a conflict. But I didn't have one, and so I'm going to be there. I'm going to get in line early because I cannot miss that experience. I've never seen that on the big screen. Got to change that.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that there's stuff like that. They're going to have the Karate Kid because it's like the 35th anniversary of that, right?
Yeah.
And I've actually never seen the Karate Kid.
Oh, whoa. Yeah.
But
wax on, wax off, my friend.
Yeah.
Gross. So something a lot of people...
No, it's a karate thing. It's a karate thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of stuff. Like there's music videos, there's animated stuff, there's short films that are made by local people.
When it comes to shorts,
all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Not only is Poppy's feature on Saturday night, but then also the next afternoon on Sunday, August 25th, there's going to be this shorts block, Alabama Comedy Shorts. And so a really cool thing is we have a short in there. It is not a comedy, but it's in there. So ours is dark.
It got shifted to that.
They couldn't fit all of the like horror and thriller stuff in another spot, so they put ours in a comedy block.
Our film that's going to be in that block was actually a scramble film. I guess we should talk about scrambles.
Yeah.
Sidewalk Scramble.
Yeah, so that's
Sidewalk
something
Film
Sidewalk
Festival
does.
Scramble.
Yeah,
at least once a year.
But yeah, we will get together for like 48 hours with a bunch of other people who like to be frantic, and like conceptualize, shoot, and edit a film, a short film, like a 4 to 5 minute film, all between Friday evening at like 6 p.m. and Sunday evening at 6 p.m.
Using very specific criteria that you pull out of a hat. So it's a contest to see if you can do it. Can you pull it off?
So we've made, I've had to make a short documentary. We've had to make a music video most recently.
Yeah.
We've done a couple of silent films because we keep drawing silent.
Yeah. So can you at least have like spooky piano music on the back of your silent film?
Yeah, you could.
Oh, you can do.
You can put music in
any
there.
music.
Yeah,
Okay.
no dialogue.
Fletcher always does the score, and
nice.
Yeah, we always have the best score.
Wax on, wax off.
Before we get out of here, I'm going to do some quick rapid fire questions with you guys.
Let's do it.
Do y'all have a favorite shot in a film?
So in The Shining, there's this shot where an elevator opens up and this like wave of blood comes out, and it's crazy.
That's a shot, my friends. Yeah. That is a shot.
And mine, it's probably a lot of people's favorite shot, but that the shot in Jaws of Chief Brody on the beach. You know, where Spielberg is mimicking Hitchcock's move from Vertigo. I guess maybe I could say it's a tie.
The background does this crazy thing, and the camera gets close.
You know, everybody does it now, but
you'll know it when you see it.
I love that shot of Jimmy Stewart in Vertigo, and I love the shot of Roy Scheider in Jaws. Like, I just get chills when I see those.
One reason this shot is so cool is because the warping effect is done all in camera. That means no computers or mirrors. The effect was accomplished by moving the camera towards the subject while simultaneously zooming out or going wider with the camera lens. So the camera pushes in while the camera lens zooms out and goes wider. That's how you get that look. It's pretty cool. We should mention Jaws was the original summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
They didn't consider like the summer movie time really before that happened, and then it went crazy, and now all big movies come out during the summer.
Yeah, sort of.
And the summer movie season begins in like March.
Favorite director, we already talked about that. Favorite actor?
Mine is I have not seen a lot of stuff from him recently, partly because he was busy with a show on Amazon Prime, but Gael Garcia Bernal, the Mexican actor, He was my favorite actor for most of the 2000s, and I thought he was going to break out more, but then his best buddy Diego Luna actually has been breaking out recently, like being in Rogue One, and you know he's been a lot busier these days. But yeah, I'm pretty obsessed with Bernal.
Nice.
I'd say Harrison Ford.
Cool.
Just like, you know, you always know how he's going to act.
Right. Harrison Ford is playing Harrison Ford
every time. But, you know, you're always cool with it.
Yeah.
You know.
And we like him. He's a likable guy. He can be himself. Yeah.
Sometimes you're just like, yes, this role this should be Harrison Ford. You know?
Totally, man. Get off my plane. I'm Harrison Ford.
I realized
if that wasn't Harrison Ford, I would be so mad.
I love you.
I know. I realized when you mentioned him, everybody immediately knows who you're talking about. I should maybe explain who my guy was, because most people will be like, I don't know him.
Yeah.
He starred in The Science of Sleep, the Michel Gondry film, and Motorcycle Diaries. That might not help anybody, but
I don't think it did.
If anybody wants to go check those movies out, they can.
Get off my plane.
Oh yeah, my favorite shot is in Rambo when the guy's like walking past the wall of mud and you don't know, and then Rambo opens his eyes and he's right there.
Yeah.
You can see him, but he had his eyes closed. That's why you couldn't see him before. Then he opens his eyes and he stabs the guy. All right, so Rambo is coming out in September. There's another Rambo.
One?
Yes.
Oh, 5 or whatever?
It would be 6. It would be 4.
Is that right?
Oh, wait.
There was a fourth one that was just
You're
called
right.
Rambo.
Rambo, right? Yes. You're right. So Rambo 1, 2, 3, those happened in the 80s, and then the most recent one, that was the 4th one.
Yeah.
Which was actually really good. Did you see it?
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I love the Rambo films. I rewatched Rambo First Blood like 2 days ago.
Yes.
I'm gearing up for it, dude. September. You've got time. You can change your life. You can change your life by seeing Rambo right now, dude.
So
I'll binge all of them, I guess.
I'll throw another plug, I guess. You know, I mean, like that kind of stuff. like the Sidewalk organization is planning to open a cinema soon in Birmingham. And so you can donate to it currently. They're going to finish it, but they're still, trying to meet their goal. They have enough to get off the ground, I think, but
they're almost done. They're like today while we're recording this, they're literally moving into it.
But they will play like older legacy kind of stuff. I mean, you might have an opportunity to see something like Rambo on the big screen in Birmingham.
In a theater.
Dude. Yeah.
Yes.
It is going to be one of the venues at this year's festival.
Okay, great. Who is best romance? Best romantic movie?
I guess I would say the movie Amelie. Which is French.
Yeah,
you will have to read subtitles if you
I
watch
believe
it.
it's French for Ashley.
I think that's French for I think that's French for Emily.
Ma petite Amélie, vous n'avez pas des os en verre. Vous pouvez vous cogner à la vie.
Most romance movies, that's probably my least favorite genre, just because I feel like for the most part, the filmmaking isn't what they're paying attention to. They're not like, hey, let's have a really cool shot right here. Or they're just so unrealistic because it'll be like two people meet and then like 5 minutes later they're in love and like they're meant to be. But
you shut your mouth.
But Amelie kind of it sort of changes those things up. So
I would say,
nice.
I had two that I prepared in my mind before I got here. I would say I was raised on the original Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn. I watched that a lot, so I'm still a huge fan of that one. Also, You've Got Mail is very high up there. I watch it a lot.
Gosh, how much of a time capsule is that movie? You've Got Mail.
I still watch. I watch it almost every holiday season.
Amelie won the Oscar that year, right?
It won an Oscar. I believe.
It won an Oscar.
Yeah. I don't quite recall. It might have won
maybe
not some stupid Oscar like best sound editing,
not director or something like that.
Best use of an Amelie.
My favorite would be True Romance. That's my favorite romantic.
Okay,
True Romance.
I've never seen that,
dude. It's amazing. It is amazing.
I know I should. Yeah, Tarantino wrote it, right?
Yes. It's very Tarantino feeling. Before. I don't know. The most recent Tarantino films haven't really been doing it for me, but that's just me.
I failed to mention it earlier, but Inglourious Bastards is just outside like my top 4 on Letterboxd. I would say it's in my top 5. I'm a huge Inglourious Bastards fan.
The drinking scene, the bar scene is so intense. That's so true. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Expected the Rocky Mountains to be a little rockier than this.
I was thinking the same thing. That John Denver's full of...
Best comedy.
I'll refer to Hot Fuzz, Edgar Wright.
That's a scary movie too, though, man. Like Hot Fuzz is scary. Like it feels like a horror movie. It's a horror comedy. I
suppose that's right. Yeah.
Did he do Shaun of the Dead as well?
He did. Yeah.
Okay, so Shaun of the Dead. If you haven't seen it, they call it a rom-zom-com.
Yeah.
Which is a romantic zombie comedy.
Correct.
And so it's scary and it's got some intense stuff in it too. So Hot Fuzz kind of has that, it's hilarious, but at times you're like, oh my gosh, somebody just got murdered and it looked real and it scared me. Yeah. So Edgar Wright, he does a great job of combining everything.
For me, I think that era of 07 to 09, it was just relentless at the theater with when the Apatow films started hitting when you got, in 07, you got smacked with Knocked Up and Superbad. And then the next year in 08, you got Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Pineapple Express and Role Models, I think, came out around then.
Yeah.
And then in 09, you got I Love You, Man. And I know I'm probably leaving some stuff out. Then the next year was Get Him to the Greek, but I felt like that was of lesser quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pineapple Express is probably the comedy that my wife and I quote the most at home almost on a daily basis.
That is my second favorite theater experience, Pineapple Express, because I went and saw Pineapple Express in the theaters in college, and this was my first time to go to and see a comedy with it packed out. I might have seen Anchorman now that I think about it, but it wasn't packed out, Yeah. And this was a comedy And so that's a different feel, watching a movie and an entire room roars with laughter along with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, or you accidentally laugh early and you're like, ha ha, and you hang out there. You know, that happens to me all the time, by the way. It's kind of weird. But that was a cool, different experience too. I was just like, people are just roaring all around me right now. And that brings more oomph to this for sure. And that was a comedy genre, or that was like a breaker, you know, because it was like the dawn of these new action comedies that you're seeing. Like, what was it, Gruber?
Gruber.
Yeah.
And then just now Schuber or something that just hit theaters. It's about Stuber. Thank you. Yeah. So it's like these action comedies are now like the thing. Like, you can't just have a comedy. There's got to be explosions. That kind of thing. Best action flick.
Oh man. This is a tough category.
This is really easy for me because I don't like action movies. So I'll just say Mad Max Fury Road and then now just move on because I don't like action movies.
So have you if you guys haven't seen the Raid movies, I'm just going to put both of them up there. See the Raid 1 and 2.
The Raid is, I feel like it's one of those movies that got steam a little bit later. It's got like more appreciation later. Like John Wick, I feel like the first John Wick didn't do as well, and then the second one, everybody was like, "Whoa, this is great!" And now the third one, like people went crazy for it.
Yeah, we all went to see it.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
She's a replicant, isn't she?
I'm impressed.
What's your favorite sci-fi film?
Oh no, you're prepared for this.
Yeah.
Go for it, Fletcher.
I guess mine is
Alien once again.
Alien, yeah.
Alien really wrote the book on a lot of the whole that sci-fi genre kind of thing for sure, and opened it up to not just nerds. You know, like a lot of people got into Alien.
Yeah,
a lot of nerds got into Alien too, but a lot of normal people.
I guess for me, like all the things that come to mind for me are definitely some of your actual favorite films. So I feel like I'm still in your thunder if I say Blade Runner.
Do it. Say Blade Runner.
I'm impressed.
Best classic film.
For me, it's probably between. I'm obsessed with World War II films, and so The Great Escape.
Ooh,
my dad and I watched that all the time when I was a kid, and I'm obsessed with it still.
It's so good. Me too. I haven't seen it in 20 years, and I'm still like going back in my mind, like, gosh, as a kid, I wanted to be one of those escapees.
That and The Bridge on the River Kwai.
Great film.
I'm a big film noir fan. I'm also a big Western fan. I might say, I'll go with a film noir and say, see Sunset Boulevard.
I guess, like, there's always Wizard of Oz, you know? I've watched that a ton.
Yeah.
Especially as a young kid.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Why aren't we seeing like original material? Like we mentioned Christopher Nolan earlier on the podcast, and he's one of the few directors out there that's putting out like original works. Interstellar, like of all the movies that like got awards that year, it was one of the few that was an actual original story. Like we aren't. What are we doing? We're storytellers.
By the way, was the first movie Fletcher and I ever saw together in the theater.
Oh, it's a good one.
I guess I would say it's kind of a combination of things. I think that, you know, I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, we're just out of ideas. I don't think that's the case, really. I think it's maybe to mitigate the risk of like...
It's risk.
It's risk, yeah.
It is.
You want to reboot something that you know already has fans because you know people are going to come see it.
Yep.
You know, you want to make a sequel to something even though it came out 30 years ago because you know people will come see it. And I don't know.
It's good that you mentioned Nolan because he's one of the only people who has got the clout to get financed for an original film, and so he still has the balance between like he had to do Batman helped secure that clout, but now I guess he doesn't have to ever do anything like that again, and so
he doesn't want to. Yeah.
You have any idea who you're stealing from? You and your friends are dead.
One last thing we can touch on and get out of here. When you were talking with your kids on the podcast about Toy Story 4. That just came out, and there's a character named Forky in Toy Story 4. You've seen it too?
Yeah.
And so this Forky character was just made by a kid from trash and like crafts. You know, it's a spork. Forky is a spork. The kid puts this thing together, and so Forky comes to life. And Forky is made from trash, and so Forky wants to go back to that trash.
Why does he want to go to the trash?
Because he was made from trash. Look, I know this is a little strange, but you gotta trust me on this.
And the entire time, Woody is having to chase after this Forky character and keep Forky out of the trash and take it back to be played with. Like that's where you're going to do well. That's where you're going to excel. And I saw that only as like two characters on a screen, one's protecting the other. That's cute, that's sweet. But then you made the comparison. This is a metaphor or an analogy or whatever for mental health and suicide prevention. And when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, it is.
Yeah. I wish I could say that I had found that on my own. I mean, I think a lot of I didn't delve deeply into reviews. I try to avoid reading individual film reviews, but I'm always plugged in on film Twitter, in the film pockets of Twitter, where the critics are giving their reactions after they go to their screenings, and that seemed to be like a shared narrative that a lot of them were picking up on when they went to the premiere, and so it was the only way I was able to process it when I saw it, because everybody was talking about it in that light.
Yeah, so you see it that way for sure throughout the movie as you watch it like that. Yeah,
it's hard for me not to, but I guess, they did it in a way where you don't, if you're a kid and that doesn't make sense to you,
right?
You can see it however you want.
Yeah, and I'm evidently a kid because I did not see that. But dude, that to me was a great point, and that shows that how cool movies can be and how multifaceted they can be. And as we get to where like we have anything that we can watch at any time on our phones, in our pockets all the time, I feel like people are going towards 15-second videos as the majority of what they consume, and that is not a good place for all of society to be all the time.
Yeah.
Go watch a movie. It's going to be boring at times. Go watch the movie, and your brain is going to feel different after, especially if you watch a good movie. It's going to take you to a place, and you're not going to be thinking about yourself, hopefully. And that's why movies are so amazing. They push you in someone else's shoes because you're forced to start to finish, if it's a good movie, hopefully, start to finish, you're forced to go somewhere else and think about something else. And I would encourage people to watch more movies. Like we used to encourage people to read. We're now having to encourage people just watch a movie instead.
For crying out loud.
Go watch a movie, man.
I think about that a lot.
Watch a movie.
My wife is a reader. She's a bookworm. She's in a book club, and she reads books on top of the book she reads for a book club. Like, she's always reading. And I get frustrated because, to me, books are spoilers for movies. And so I'm getting to the point where a lot of other people are, where I just want to see the movie, and then maybe if I like it and I know it's a book, I'll read the book later to flesh things out.
Yeah.
So that's how I prefer to process the story.
Yeah. I think the thing with movies that people don't realize is that like this is the apex of the craft of a ton of people that worked on it. It's going to have themes in there that you're going to be able to relate to your life. At least good ones are. And I think the average person out there who's jumping onto these 15-second videos is like, I just want the fast entertainment. And like a good movie is going to have it all, right?
Yeah.
It's going to have the entertainment. It's going to have something that makes you say, "Oh, whoa, I am thinking now. I feel like that spoke to me about my life."
Or I'm motivated now.
Exactly.
Or I see the mistakes those people made. I'm not going to do that.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
A lot of people would say that a movie is lazier than, people will be like, instead of reading a book, I'll read the cliff notes or watch the movie. And so for years you get to thinking that movies are something you look down on, or like it's a lower form of entertainment. But people now are obsessed with Audible, so like they'll listen to a book. So why not listen to and look at the visual representation of a book?
Yeah, very good point.
Like, it's so many layers when you're watching a movie. If it's a good one, it can feel like a novel.
Yeah. For sure. Most definitely. So check out Sidewalk. Everybody watch more movies. Check out their podcast. I'll have that listed below. And thank you guys so much.
Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
That's it for this episode. The nonprofit of the week is Sidewalk. They are a nonprofit organization dedicated to encouraging filmmaking in Alabama and building audiences for independent film. They produce the Sidewalk Film Festival, and they launched a campaign, like Fletcher said, to fund the Sidewalk Film Center and Cinema. It's going to be a 2-screen independent movie theater in the heart of Birmingham's historic theater district. For 20 years, the Sidewalk Film Festival has showcased the work of more than 250 filmmakers and welcomed more than 1,500 film lovers to Birmingham every year. The 21st annual Sidewalk Film Festival will take place August 19th through the 25th. That's coming up very soon. For more info, go to sidewalkfest.com. Thank you for checking out the show. Leave a like, a comment, or a review on iTunes, please. And for more info on everything mentioned in this episode, for more episodes as well, you can check out my website, adler.tv. See ya.
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.